Let's see. Artie Lange.
Yeah.
Our pal Artie Lange.
I
like Artie
all
Lange.
the tweets I was getting yesterday. Don't do midnight.
Why?
Because they were...
You were supposed to do midnight with Artie Lange?
Yes, Artie. It was supposed to be Artie, myself, and Kurt Metzger were the guests for the Late Show for midnight, which is airing tonight, by the way. So late in the day, I start seeing all these tweets for, like, don't do midnight, and then I realized it's because Artie tweeted stuff at this black girl from ESPN. He wasn't trying to be hateful. He was just trying to be funny. But they weren't really smart tweets. You know, I mean, people mean well, like the fans mean well, and they want to be protective. But it's like every time they yell, like, you know, don't do midnight. And then they're like, well, Artie said midnight canceled him because he was getting no pressure from these black groups or whatever groups, feminist groups. And then midnight called my manager, and I guess they saw it in the thing. So like, thank you for not backing out. This is what they said. And again, I don't know if it's true or not, but I texted Artie. I had two numbers, and I called one of the numbers, and one of them was no good anymore, and I didn't hear back on the other one.
Right.
So I couldn't even get his side of it on a personal level because he changed his number a lot. They said we didn't cancel Artie. That was what they told my manager. They're like, we never canceled Artie. We said we were a little concerned about it, and then he goes on Twitter and says midnight canceled me. And they're like, it was irrational. We didn't say don't. They're like, we never said we were getting all these complaints from. So I don't know if they're lying or not, or if he misread something, or if they're just bullshitting.
Right. Who's telling the truth there?
Yeah, I don't think he's lying, but I mean, maybe he reacted to something. But they just reached out to my manager. We didn't even call them; they called us and said, "Look, this is what's happening."
How was midnight? That's a huge show.
It was awesome.
You had a good time with Chris?
Yeah, Chris is a great host, and I wound up doing it with Jesse Joyce and
nice,
and Kurt and myself. And it was right around the corner from my house. I mean, you know, it's where they shoot The View.
Right.
So it was fucking great. The audience was great. It was Brody Stevens does the audience warm up. Do you know Brody?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Brody. He's really good at it. It's a very, very.
I was watching the reality show of his for a little while.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
That's the same guy, right? He went nuts for a little bit.
Yeah, for 40 years. But I mean, but he's a really funny and great. He's a big part of why like Chelsea Lately was so good for a while, and what because he really gets these crowds in a great mood. They just love Brody.
Yeah, I was watching the reality show where he was trying to come back from all the craziness and stuff, and then I just realized as I'm talking about this that I never finished the show, but I liked what I saw, and then I was thinking we should get the guy on the damn show.
Yeah, he lives in L.A. He was a New York guy, but he moved to L.A.
Yeah, well, we'll try to get him on in the future then.
And so the crowd was awesome, and it was a great experience. We went from like 9 to 10. It airs tonight.
Oh, good.
And I've never seen the show, so they had to kind of go over it with me and tell me what happens and what to expect and what you're going to talk about that you're aware you're going to talk about, and some that just gets thrown at you.
Yeah,
and it was really fun.
So people should check that out tonight.
Yeah, I was. But
you got tweets that don't do the show?
Yeah, I was amazed at how good the show was. Like again, because I have not seen it, and when you're on, the crowd was so fucking pumped and so in the moment, and they were right on top of you. Like the way they set that up is just it's a perfect setup for comedians.
Right.
So fucking Hardwick is great, man. Yeah, the tweets were coming in. That's how I heard about it. Was all these tweets saying don't do midnight. So I wound up, of course, you backtrack a little bit and you see, oh, it's an Artie Lange thing. What the fuck happened? Mm-hmm. And he had sent these tweets to this. He was talking dirty, like he was joking about this these sex fantasies he was having about this new black. I don't know if she knew Sam, this new black anchor.
I don't know.
She's on ESPN.
She's very attractive.
Yeah. So just what? He was sitting around at home and just decided, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, but
that's the setup, really, or
yeah, I think
the backstory.
Just being funny.
The original tweets by Artie Lange, and we try to get Artie on the show. I understand why he's not going to do our show, but I do like Artie. In the end, I absolutely like Artie Lange. I've seen him a bunch of times with Jim on his comedy tours and stuff. So, original tweets. The chick from Artie Lange. The chick on ESPN's First Take is so fucking hot.
Perfect.
So I guess he's sitting around and like, wow, look at this chick.
Yeah, hold on, let me just check that one out. That's fine.
That one's fine?
No problem.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Trying to maintain erection and jerk off the chick on First Take, but they keep cutting back to Stephen A. Smith and the white guy. Frustrating.
Perfect.
That's funny.
Great tweet. Jerking off. Nothing wrong looking at a hot girl jerking off on television.
Wow, that's her?
Yeah, she's a delight.
I bet you we're not supposed to point out that she's sexy as all hell, right?
Oh, you can.
Are you allowed to these days?
Of course you are. She's beautiful. I mean, she wanted to date me for a while, and I just kept saying no. The racial difference will kill us.
Because I remember the story with Hannah Storm.
Nothing.
Oh, sorry.
Everyone believe that? You guys actually believe that?
No,
I'm more impressed that you both bought into my lie.
You got so much nonsense. Sometimes it's just I'm not even going to listen to you. No, the Hannah Storm story where she wears those tiny short skirts to look sexy, and then someone points that out, and that guy got in trouble. I forgot his name and all that. It's a couple years back. So I don't know if you're really allowed to point out the fact that these women are very sexy on TV.
I'll tell you the problem,
especially if you work with them.
That's the problem. That's who you get in trouble is if you are an on-air anchor and you point it out. But Artie's just a fucking comic. He can say what he wants.
But I mean, then don't wear the tiny little skirts.
Yeah, exactly.
Like some of these women walk around here with the tiny little skirts and the cleavage out, and you got to make believe they're in a fucking snowsuit.
Yeah, and they all get mad at me if I look and I go, "Hey, it's good to see you today." Then I just reach under and grab their cunts. I can't keep my hands off their cunts.
Wow, look at this girl.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Artie Lange was right on so far.
Yeah.
I want the chick on First Take to laugh at my white dick.
Great. You can mention race in that context. That's very funny. And there is a humiliation fact. I would love to ask Artie if that's true. I know he's joking, but, there's a lot of truth and humor. And I'm like, that's a fetish for guys to like their dicks laughed at.
Right.
Some guys. And I'm like,
he's making fun of himself there.
Yeah, but I wonder if there's any truth in that.
Going with the old stereotype that the black ones are bigger.
Yeah, well, it's not a stereotype. It's a fact. Is there a stereotype that there's clouds in the sky?
Yeah.
Or that the ocean is blue?
Black guys don't mind that stereotype, right?
You're so passionate about it.
Well, I'm just defending fucking black guys' dicks. Don't attack them, guys.
They'll accept that stereotype.
Yes.
Here's the scenario. This is Artie Lange again. Here's the scenario I'm using to jerk off to chick on First Take. I'm T. Jefferson, and she's my slave. She beats the shit out of me and runs free.
Put an X by that one. Really? Probably it wasn't the smartest thing to say. Even though it's hard to...
Slave humor will get people's eyebrows erased.
But especially when you're tweeting about a particular person, that's where it gets a little bit harder. Because you can make a joke about slavery. I mean, it's a terrible part of... But fuck it. It's like anything else in American history. It's an event that can be talked about or made fun of or whatever. Like any other horrible thing.
Can I help you out with what you just said, though, Jimmy? He should be allowed to make these jokes, no?
Well, he is.
Yeah. But what you're talking about is like this, you understand why some red flags would be raised if you tweet something like this.
I can only look at what I would say as a comic.
Like you wouldn't do this tweet.
No. But it's like whenever I talk about this stuff, I always try to use my own gauge on and I guess everyone in society uses their own gauge, so that's why we have all these fucking problems. And I try to think, would I send that tweet knowing the climate we're in?
Yeah.
Sometimes the answer is yes, I would, and sometimes the answer is no. That one I wouldn't have, just because if it had just been the first tweet, I'm having this scenario to jerk off. There's a slave girl. I'm Thomas Jefferson, and this chick beats my ass and runs away or whatever. That's fine. It's just when you start naming a specific person, it's a little bit trickier. But personally, I mean, I would be careful with that one, just because you're gonna get, you're gonna hear shit about it.
And to defend Artie, he's going for the joke there.
Of course he is.
And that's where the separation starts with these assholes. He truly is going for the joke there. There's no hate in his heart.
There's not 1 ounce of intent to be racially vicious or it's all in humor. He's not attempting to be condescending or nasty. He's only trying to be funny.
But that's when the discussion starts splitting off, and then they don't even want to acknowledge anymore that Artie Lange was going for something funny, and now they're like, oh, look, he's a hateful person. And that's just not true. You should discuss what you think is funny, maybe, and humor in general, but... Artie Lange...
But people on the comedy side fuck up, too. It's like, just because someone's trying to be funny doesn't mean that they never say something. Like, I've said stuff that was wrong. Like, I probably shouldn't have said that. But it doesn't mean you should be penalized for it. Or it doesn't mean that you should have your fucking career injured for it. That's where everybody... like, we all fuck up and say dumb. This shit I wrote in fucking... I Hate Your Guts that I really wish I hadn't written.
Right.
I wish I hadn't written it. My point of view at that time was very angry. And I look back and it's like, and it didn't hurt my career. I never get any repercussions for it. But there's a couple of times I look back and I'm like, I wish I had said that smarter.
It was a different time, though.
I just, as a grown-up, I wish I had said that. But no, I have some. I wish I had said certain things smarter. Sure.
It was a great book, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Artie Lange tweets. Then he tweets, then I come and she's free. The happiest ending ever.
It's kind of a tag to the first one.
Right. And then as reparations, I make Skip Bayless my slave.
Who's Skip?
He's another guy on ESPN, right?
Yeah.
Is he the white guy? Is he the white guy on the show?
No, he's... No. No, he's oh yeah, that guy. Okay, that guy. I know him. Yeah.
He's like the older white guy with the sandy.
So now he wants
hair.
to make the white guy a slave. This is a goddamn mini-series. He tweets, and then he tweets, "I attempt to whip at Cari Champion because she disrespected the Jefferson plantation, but she grabs whip and beats me. I come like a fat founding father."
Yeah, that was probably one he should have rethought. Of all of them, that was probably the one that was a little rougher. He should have probably rethought.
Who's Cari?
She's the girl.
She's the
she's the girl. Yeah.
Oh, she's the first take girl. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't know her name.
Yeah.
After having 8 illegitimate kids together, at Cari Champion and I marry at the Knights of Columbus in Linden, New Jersey. Probably with that.
Problem with that?
Fuck
off.
Fuck off.
F off. Yeah.
All right. That's really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit harsh, certainly, but really.
What it does is
this is the uproar.
It accidentally, and this was not his intention at all. But when you do that publicly, you mention her especially, because it was the mention I think that really got him in trouble. The other stuff people might have went like, all right, come on, man, like you probably should. But it was the mention that I think focused everybody on it.
Right.
It's like you're in a way without meaning to, you're kind of publicly bringing her into it, and now people are going to say to her, well, this guy's talking to you about you like you're a slave, and you know, it's just one of those. But he didn't. But the thing is, he's not trying to be hateful. It's not.
He's just being. He's being funny. There's some funny tweets in there.
Yeah, there's no anger behind
a comic.
There's no degradation behind it that's intentional. But the thing is, if it was a Jewish girl and you said like, hey, I've been jerking off thinking that like I'm Hitler and I pull you out of a concentration camp and you queef on me,
right?
Like. You know, I definitely understand why you'd say that as a comic, but you look like you just got to be careful. It's the time we're in. It sucks.
Yeah, you know people are going to take these tweets and run with it. I mean, that's the culture we live in. I'm sure Artie understands that to a point.
Yeah.
So he got a tremendous amount of heat yesterday. Yes, Sam.
That's what's so bad about Twitter, too, is I'm sure in Artie's mind he was tweeting to his fans that understand his voice and understand his humor, but Twitter is public.
Right.
And so, like, that's why all these people get fucked over by it, because everybody sees it now, and so everybody is allowed to figure out whatever context is real for them.
Yeah, and he hasn't. It's like the only penalty he suffered. That's what we're talking about this in a weird way, because it's not like he got fired from a job. People are just complaining about it. And it's like, I don't care if people, I never mind if people complain about shit comedians say. It's when they want you to get in trouble. Mm-hmm. And he's saying that they pulled him off Midnight, but they, again, like I said, they called my manager and said they did not.
Okay.
So he may have misinterpreted something, or maybe they were bullshitting my manager.
Well, this type of thing will prevent him from getting some gigs, unfortunately.
It might, yeah.
In the, I'll say it again, the culture we live in.
Yeah.
First comments after outrage. So then all the outrage hits. He's trending on Twitter. Everyone's blogging about it. And then Artie hung in there. He dug in. First comments after outrage. I'm about to tweet a few things I can't believe have to be explained in a rational world. I observed that at Cari Champion was a gorgeous lady. This observation came while I was watching one of my favorite TV shows, ESPN's First Take. I also noticed she was black. I then thought it would be funny to tweet jokes about that observation, a decision which might be the end of modern comedy. I tweeted jokes that in the past I would have said privately in my home among friends. I know black women who could join me and handle it. I won't debate if the tweets were funny. That could take minutes of precious time left in my career. The issue is, do they warrant an apology? So that's a pretty good explanation so far. Tricky question. I would rather load trucks for a living than ever apologize to one of these awful PC groups ruining the country. Bravo. So that's a no. But if it upset the lady in question, that's another story. Let me say to at Cari Champion, if this hurt you in any way, I'm sorry. I don't mind that. You don't mind that, right?
I don't mind any of it, but I mean,
I'm a comedian. Sometimes I'm funny. For the record, my mom's disgusted with the tweets, but if I based my humor on my mom, I'd be broke. They're now telling me, this is throughout the whole day, I'm just reading them as one big thing. They're now telling me I can't appear at midnight tonight because of the pressure they're getting from these groups. Jimmy's saying that might not be true.
I'm only saying what they told my manager, right. And when they reached out to us, we didn't reach out to them. Jonathan called me and said, I talked to these guys, and then I guess he got caught up in what was going on.
Right.
We didn't reach out and go, "What's up with Artie? Is he on or not?"
Right.
They called us without us asking.
Okay, because they were panicking you were going to bail?
I guess so, but I mean, maybe all this stuff was happening when I wasn't checking Twitter, because by the time I looked at all these tweets, it was fucking happening. I didn't catch this from the beginning.
But who cares? I love the show and it's my living, but who cares? These groups have won again. All I care about is at Cari Champion, truly. But I'm sure you'll be okay. You're gorgeous and talented. I hope that didn't offend you. To the PC Army, congrats. You won again. Gluten-free cake. I've been asked not to appear on At Midnight, and you've ruined any chance I had at dating at Cari Champion. That was a joke. I'm not racist. It's sad that he has to say that because there's no hate in his heart.
But even in the tweets that you're like, you probably shouldn't have sent that one. There's no, again, I say that there's no fucking desire to be nasty. He's not trying to be hurtful. Like, you got to kind of look into, if somebody sends something that's ill-advised and you go like, dude, you got to think. You got to still be able to separate that from a guy who's sending hateful shit, and he's not sending hateful shit.
Yeah, you just lump him into that category. That's just not fair to Artie Lange.
Yeah,
it's much more complicated than that.
And it also diminishes when people are really being. If you're lumping these in with the guy who's actually tweeting vicious, truly racist, based in anger shit, then you're diminishing the nastiness of what that guy's saying. If you're putting the jokes that a comic is making in the same category,
he's just going for jokes. Okay, some people were offended, but he was just going for jokes. He wasn't going for hate. I don't hate women. And to you PC groups that did this, I want to be clear. Go fuck yourselves. Now get back to saving the world. Done. Peace. So that was all the tweets after, the outrage hit Twitter and everywhere else, and he was trending. And then late last night, Artie Lange tweeted the following. Okay, guys, just talked to a black woman who's a new friend of mine. She told me some of my fans, in parentheses, threatened her life today. I've got to take that seriously. So my apologies extend to bigger group of people. If that's true, and it is, because she's no liar, I have to think. I have to take jokes like the ones I made more seriously, because I want no part of that awful bullshit. Not what I'm about. I'm sorry to whoever was hurt by the tweets. I will keep some jokes to myself. It's a different world. Thanks, guys, and thanks to my new friend, Pia. I hate that we have to cater to idiots, but the thought of some woman scared for her well-being because of a joke is something I can't stand. I think he played it perfectly.
Well, I think he was being truthful too.
Yeah,
I think that he just, as the day wore on, I know Pia, and she's really smart, and she's rational, and she's fair, and he probably had a good conversation with her.
And he threw some honesty at the situation. You know, I mean, he was backed into a weird corner, and I think his tweets were perfect last night.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks that you got to apologize for this shit, but in this world, you also got to realize that they're out to get you. They're just out to get you. It's a fine balance now.
Yeah.
And at least he apologized to the people that he unintentionally hurt, not to, like, the groups that were threatening his well-being or anything like that. Like, it wasn't one of those phony...
Well, I question how many people were really, truly hurt by his tweets, too, by the way. I question that.
Yeah. I mean, if this is a true story about people, tweeting out death threats, which I believe, because sometimes people on Twitter can be very stupid.
That's what Twitter has become.
Some of them are silly geese. And they'll tweet the death threats. I don't know why you'd want to kill Pia. Her name, I don't know why. Do you know who she is? I think she blogs and she's big in. I say that there's no black blogging scene, but she's pretty well known. And she's really she's very bright. Yeah. So she probably had a very rational discussion with Artie.
Well, now it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now you got a guy, Artie Lange, who wasn't going for hate, going for jokes, got some controversy. Fought his way out of it, I think, in a very professional, honest way. Now we'll see. Will the fucking PC assholes let him go now for being honest and explaining himself? I think he explained himself perfectly, which is not easy to do on Twitter in 140 characters.
And this is what happens when you tweet something and you don't get a lawyer to do it. Like, this is where you know that the apology or the like, hey, man, I wasn't trying to do this. That's where you know it's actually coming from the real guy and not some corporate shit lawyer.
Right.
Because he's not saying things like, to all of those, I deeply regret. Like, he wasn't using those fake catchwords that people use. There's nothing wrong with if you say something publicly and you feel like, maybe I shouldn't have said that, and there's like something I didn't intend came out or was perceived, or, hey, sorry about that. There's a difference between that and the groveling apology that is insincere. You know, and he seems like he's being very sincere, so I hope not. He should have no penalty for this at all.
Well, here's the story. I just want to see how the news handled this. Artie Lange under fire for racist, sexist tweets about ESPN anchor Cari Champion. Artie Lange is in hot water for his recent tweets about a female ESPN anchor. The comedian posted a series of tweets Tuesday in which he described pleasuring himself to First Take host Cari Champion and makes it worse by evoking slavery, when describing fantasy scenarios involving Champion. ESPN has issued a statement about Lange's remarks, calling them reprehensible. No one should be subjected to such... See, this is what drives me fucking insane. No one should be subjected to such hateful language. He was going for funny.
Yeah.
At least say that.
ESPN.
That means basically you're saying Artie is like you don't acknowledge he's a comic and like, oh, look at, he's just at home being hateful toward this woman on ESPN. No, he was going for laughs. Well, there's a big difference.
Well, but they get their own people. They never stand by their own talent for making jokes. They had to say something. So that's just typical corporate shit. They're
the press.
Who? ESPN?
This is ESPN's statement. But this is the press. The press should probably throw a little something in here as well. They say that, but, a lot of people would say that he was just going for jokes that misfired. And people were offended by thinking, he was going for hate, and he just wasn't going for hate.
Yeah. It is kind of important to say that, and none of them are going to say it. Well, they'll say jokes in quotes because this way they can still carry on with the bullshit narrative of he's hateful.
Right.
But it really is important that he was trying to be funny.
No one should be subjected to such hateful language, the statement continued. They objectify and demean one of our valued employees under the thin guise of comedy.
But that's not under the guise of comedy. It really was intended to be humorous. That's why he
not
did
the
it.
thin guise. Like what? Artie's sitting around like, oh, I'm a comic. People know me as a comic, so I'm going to use that to really fucking hit her with some real hateful shit.
Thin guys, who? Travis and Sam?
Okay, then. And are offensive to all of us.
Yeah, of course. Let Opie talk.
We will not dignify them with any other comment. Champion has also declined a comment. Lange himself responded to the outcry on Wednesday in a series of tweets in which he defended himself as trying to compliment Champion as a gorgeous lady in what he thought was a humorous way. Okay. I won't debate if the tweets were funny. That could take minutes of precious time left in my career. He tweeted, the issue is, do they warrant an apology? Tricky question. I would rather load trucks for a living. Yeah, we read these tweets. For a living than ever apologize to one of these awful PC groups.
Well, Joseph Goria commented too, which was weird, about Champion. He's like, when your host says no, Champion says yes. You remember him?
Absolutely.
Sounds like Uncle Paul. I didn't realize it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Your anchor says no. Champion says yes.
And then they have this tweet in the article. So that's a no, he added. But if it upset the lady in question, that's another story. Let me say to Cari Champion, if this hurts you in any way, I'm sorry. So there you
Cari
go.
Champion? What, on your shoulders or something?
Okay, then. And then the former member of the Howard Stern Show has already suffered professional blowback. He tweeted Wednesday that an upcoming appearance on the Comedy Central
blowback,
series...
That's what you give to a friend who blows you. Huddle.
Series Midnight had been canceled due to the scandal. So that's the article.
Yeah, and I tried to reach out to... I went up talking to Artie's producer late last night, but the numbers I had for him, because he does change his number frequently, and I was unable to reach him during the day.
And we reached out to him as a show to get him on. I know it's a long shot, but at least we wanted to offer him a chance to speak openly here. So whatever, I think he handled it perfectly. We'll see how this develops now. Just apologize and explaining yourself should be good enough, but we all know that they'll just keep pushing, right?
Yeah, I don't like the fact that they say it's hateful. They could say, like, we don't like our employees to be subjected to tasteless jokes. That would have been much more accurate. Like, all right, it was just a tasteless joke. It wasn't fucking hateful. Like, people throw the word hate around. It's so silly.
That's not.
It's silly.
What do you think people know that, but they just don't want to, acknowledge it?
I don't know.
There's edgy comics that are going to go for the jokes. I mean, look at the Chris Rock thing the other day. He got heat.
Yeah.
And he showed nothing but respect for those Those. Oh, look, the Chris Rock thing.
They had
Never
Cedric
going
on
in
Fox.
there, Tower.
Fox is obsessed with the story.
Because I'm never going in there. What? These 6 miles. You've been training for a year. You finally get to the finish line, and somebody screams, run!
That is a great joke.
Sometimes you have to laugh so you don't cry. I mean, what do you think?
Oh, definitely. I think, as a comedian, it's our job to kind of push the meter a little bit. You try to you try to make things that are funny that, could be touchy.
Because you talk about the World Trade Center and 3,000 people dying and then rebuilding the belt, the freedom tower.
But again, I think, the whole idea is to kind
what's his name? The main guy there who just carries the company.
Something really tragic happened there. And I'm just kind of relating it to me personally. And so I think just trying to have a good time with it and not necessarily, talk bad or light of those who lost lives.
Sure, and he was tying together the World Trade Center and then what happened in Boston as well. But it's tricky when you're in your business because you got to figure out, is it safe to talk about now, or am I going to get in trouble?
Good point with a long tie. Oh, look, he's grabbing Cedric. Oh, God, he's touching a black man. Quick, I object.
It's always
It's hateful.
Where comedians go,
hateful touching.
Yeah. Like you can have something you say too soon.
How do you tell?
You just have to, you can
use your instincts, dummy. Anything you're saying, we do the opposite. That's how we tell.
So it was too soon for that.
It was too soon.
Okay. So the DVD you have coming out is what?
Oh, top five coming out in theaters.
Wait, did Cedric say it was too soon for what?
Very funny movie.
By the way, that's the movie that somebody has a cameo in, or some show has a cameo in that Cedric is talking about.
What show? Not a show that exists anymore.
For hurtful. That's why I was trying to figure out people in this room.
That's how people feel when a movie star dies in the middle of filming and it comes out posthumously.
I heard we're in it for like a second, 2 seconds.
I think we're in the trailer and throughout the movie we're interspliced.
That movie making's weird. They were here for like hours filming.
Yes.
They even said off mic, like, too bad, we can't use more of this. That was kind of nice to hear.
Yeah.
And now we're just going to be like a quick little boom.
It's in a montage scene. Boom, boom.
Hey, that's kind of, I'll take it.
Boom, boom, boom.
It's kind of fun.
I want dialogue and I want the money to come a-rolling in. I would like the parts and the money to come rolling in.
Let's say hi to Nick in Atlanta. Nicky.
Yo, hey guys, what's up?
Hey, Nick.
So we're about 20 minutes past it, but back when you were talking about the guy from ESPN a couple of years ago, that was Tony Kornheiser. He was talking about Hannah. He was talking about Hannah Storm, who's a pretty big smoke show for being like 50, but he was commenting on TV on ESPN about how her pencil skirts and her tight blouses made her look like sausage and casing.
Yeah, that caused a huge uproar.
Oh, yeah, they suspended him without pay for 3 weeks, but then he comes back and he says sorry and everything's good,
Well, they forced him to say sorry. But, I mean, Hannah Storm's walking around in tiny little skirts and stuff. People are gonna maybe, comment about it.
Yeah, you can't talk about people anymore.
So fucking weird. Thank you. I sort of remembered the incident, and thanks for filling in the blanks there. All right, Nick.
Yeah, no worries. Love the new show, guys.
Thank you, brother.
A woman just asked me on Twitter. I don't know if she's a woman. Hey, Jim, if they came out and told you on midnight that they had banned Artie, would you have bailed? I don't know. That was a tough question. I would normally say no, but I was thinking of it strongly yesterday just because there was so many tweets coming in, and I'm like, it was actually, I was glad my manager called and said what he said. I was happy. But I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if I would have done that or not. Mm-hmm. There are some circumstances I definitely would have said yes, but under that one, I don't know. I guess it would have depended on how he was handling it and if they were going after him or what their reasoning was. But it all happened, again, in the span of a couple hours. It started and we got an explanation.
Well, that puts you in a tough spot, too. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, like, would people have not gone on if I got in trouble for something? Like, do you really think other comedians would have just... we stand by comics more than most people do.
Right.
When's the last, how many comedians defend us or what we're doing? They don't give a fuck about us.
Right. True. Okay. So that's the Artie Lange thing.
Coming soon to the Opie and Anthony Network, it's the Jim Norton No Request Show.
That's me, Jim Norton, folks.
Play some Grateful Dead, man.
man.
Jerry Garcia sat on a stool. He was awful.
Dude, can you play some Lenny Kravitz?
Come on, stop. Walks around with his dumb shades, and he's a hipster, and he stinks.
You request it, chances are he hates it.
Other bands are boring.
Nirvana.
Shut it, you dope.
Led Zeppelin.
Garbage.
You too!
I hate bandwagon bands like U2 that are going to sit there and preach politics.
It's all Ozzy all the time.
He's one of the best live performers on earth. He's dyslexic. It doesn't matter. He's a maniac on stage. That's the beauty of him.
Remember, if Ozzy didn't sing it...
One-word answer. Awful. Awful. You stink. Horrible.
My boyfriend's gonna kill us both unless you play Limp Bizkit.
So what? Let him do it. Oh, brother.
Weekday mornings from 3 to 3:15.
Fine. I don't care.
I was walking down the street, and some construction guy was shouting at me, "Hey, show me your cans." So I did. And he plummeted 17 floors and was impaled on a forklift. But my tits looked great.
Please, wow responsibly. A public service announcement of the Opie and Anthony Show.
It's the O&A virus.